the United States are strongly encouraged to shelter in place to avoid being attacked or taken hostage. To shelter in place, take the following precautions. Close all windows and doors, and all lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official, the original, the only house for Las Vegas Raiders news, rumors, updates, and reactions. Welcome to Hammers.House. Very special edition tonight, our first installment of which I hope to be many, Vault Talk, with my two very special guests. It's an honor and a privilege to have them on. Two-time Emmy Award-winning TV producer and sports reporter, Deb Whitcas, and former Raiders wide receiver and CEO of Million Dollar Mingle celebrity fundraiser and future sports pro marketing, AC Caswell. Let's welcome them in.
Hey guys, what is up?
Hello.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being on. Definitely means a lot. Definitely appreciate it, Deb. I know you found me on Instagram through, I guess, one of your producers, which I'm still trying to grasp that, like, people actually watch me. Like, it's kind of funny sometimes. But welcome to the Vault. Appreciate you guys being on. I'm going to start with Deb. South Jersey, huge sports fan. Who or what gave you your love for sports?
You know what? It's been sports since the beginning. My dad played for the MLB in the minors for the Philadelphia Phillies. He was also a professional bowler. I kind of feel like he wanted a boy. He got a girl, but he got a girl who loves sports. So sports has always been there. I played softball growing up. Also, I've always loved football as well. I cheered for football. I grew up in a stadium. I grew up watching the Philadelphia Phillies play 3 rows from home plate. Their wives sat behind me. I would always talk with them. I would flirt with the bad boy. You're 12, 13. That's what you do. So, and I kind of went into entertainment first, career-wise, and now, have been pivoting, kind of back to the love of sports, and now with sports media.
What made you make that transition? Like, look, we're looking at it behind you. Your two beautiful Emmys just chilling. What made you make that transition from being a TV producer, covering shows like Divorce Court and Dr. Phil, to being a sports reporter?
You know what? I honestly woke up one day and thought, why am I not in sports media? Like, I have friends in the league. I follow NFL religiously. And I found myself at work looking more on the internet and doing research about what was going on in the different leagues, and literally woke up one day and I was like, now I'm being dumb. You know what I mean? Like, I need to do this for a living. Sports has always been an escape for me and kind of a break from Hollywood. But then when you start to love it a little bit more, I saw that change in myself and I was like, all right, let me do this. Like, I've always been a diehard Eagles fan, always will be. And I would always follow them. But then when I started to have, more friends in the league and contacts, I kind of started following them too. And then I was like, sports and NFL in particular is the best reality show out there. How hard is it going to be to make a pivot into sports? So.
Right. I know we had talked earlier this week. You were at Boston College this past weekend. During the preseason, you covered, unfortunately, guys, the LA Chargers. The teams that you've covered, what would be your dream team right now? I know you're an Eagles fan. I know you're a Phillies fan. Would those one of those two teams be like your ultimate dream job or ultimate team that you would love to cover?
I mean, absolutely, the Eagles end all be all. I actually got to cover 2 Eagles games last season. I covered the season premiere. I'm still a TV producer. Season premiere. The first game of the season I covered with, they played the Falcons, so I got to see that, and I wrote an article on that, and then also covered the game, the first game with Washington that they played in December. I got to cover that as well. So just being in that press box was a dream come true. My ultimate is to cover the Eagles in a Super Bowl and then win. That's the ultimate goal in life. But also too, I would be really happy to cover any of the teams. I mean, any of the 32 teams, super, super honored, and it would be great. I mean, it would be fantastic. Chargers, Rams. I mean, obviously I'm a Chargers fan. I'm also a Rams fan because I live in Los Angeles.
Right.
Those are probably my next 2 that I would want to cover. San Fran also. I have tons of friends that are San Fran fans, as well as the Raiders. I mean, gotta love Vegas, right? And
of course,
yeah. And Vegas and the Raiders have such a great reputation of just like hitting it hard and like kind of the bad boys of the NFL, I think. And I kind of like that because you know how girls like the bad boys. So yeah.
So I know that you were in Vegas for this year's NFL draft. What was the experience like? I was out there with my guys, and shout out to them, Docs, Andy, Wasted. We hosted an event at a hotel out there for 3 days doing live coverage of the draft, but you were front and center in the middle of it. What was the experience like?
It was great. I was out there with my cameraman, and we were doing a bunch of interviews and a bunch of stand-ups, and my cameraman actually looked over to me. He goes, "Deb, you realize," he's like, "this isn't even a game." Like there was so many fans and so many people, and I had an entire NFL experience. It's normally at Super Bowl. It's very similar, and everyone was just so excited for the season and so to be coming, and so excited to see who the rookies were going to be and where they were going to get picked. The energy was super hyped. It was amazing, and it was a really, really fun time.
I definitely didn't get to experience that whole part of it, as pretty much went out there to work pretty much. And again, shout out to my boy Andy, because as we're doing the draft and the picks are coming in, before ESPN could even have the picks announced, we had them. He definitely must know some people that I don't know. And everybody's like, what is going on? How do you guys know this? Like, don't worry, we got people. You'll be fine.
Right. And there was a lot on Twitter too. Like there was a lot on Twitter. And another thing that I loved from that experience too is I got to actually go backstage. One of my colleagues had a contact who did the jerseys for the guys. We got to see the process of the guys putting the names on the jersey and how many they had seconds. They had like 45 seconds to get this name on the jersey. He's like, Kenny Pickett. And then like as he's walking out, they're getting the name on the jersey so they can hand it to Roger Goodell. Like it was just a really cool process.
Of the people that you've had the opportunity to interview, who was your favorite? And if you had a bucket list of like maybe 3 that you would absolutely love to interview, who would they be?
I mean, obviously AC Caswell, my number 1. He was just drinking something. It went. No, I mean, and AC's helped me out a ton. He was on my Touchdown Timeout show that I'm bringing back. It should be coming back soon. Nice. I'm doing some prep work for it now, and he was, nice enough to come on there and talk about the Raiders and talk about his, experience as a Raider. So number 1, AC Caswell. And number 2, I mean, honestly, not NFL, but MLB, Pete Rose.
Okay.
I mean, you got to go there, right?
The GOAT.
You got it. The man still holds MLB records, and he's 81 years old. Such a legend. He definitely needs to be in the Hall of Fame, number one. Number two, it was just an amazing experience because growing up, he played for the Phillies, and that was kind of my era of the Phillies with Mike Schmidt, and it meant a lot to have the opportunity to interview him. And it was super cute because he had on, when he started the interview, he had on like a Reds cap. And during the middle of it, he's like, Deb, this is for you. And he took off the Reds cap and put on a Phillies cap. And I was like, yes. And then I went and ran and got my Phillies cap and put it on. And so we're both like wearing, there we go.
This funny enough, this was actually, I played minor league ball. I played single A for the Reds down in Sarasota ages ago. And it was a great experience. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to meet him, but I got to meet my all-time favorite player and player I idolized growing up, Ken Griffey Jr. And I practically was on the Mike Myers and Wayne's World thing where I was ready to bow down and just say I'm not worthy.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's pretty much how it was. And just his stories. And he talked about Babe Ruth and how he idolized Babe Ruth and the difference between the players then and the players now. And I think we literally interviewed him for 2 hours, I want to say.
Wow.
The coolest thing was I actually got on, I like to prep a lot. I research a ton before I get on these interviews. And I was prepping that morning before the interview, double looking at my questions, and decided to get on a little bit early. And I got on about 10 minutes early from anyone else that was there. We had about 3 of us interviewing him. And Pete Rose was already on, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
Nobody else was. And granted, we weren't taping, but I literally sat there for 10 minutes and just BS'd with Pete Rose. Because what else am I going to do?
Right.
And it was the best 10 minutes of my life. So, I mean, and thank God I had watched the Phillies game the night before, because that's obviously what we talked about. And then, as you said, 3, right? My third, who's really, Eddie George is super fun. He's originally from Philly.
Right.
Titans, just a beast. And the nicest man ever. So he taught me the Heisman Trophy pose. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've covered college football, you've covered the NFL, and you've covered the XFL. What was it like covering the XFL?
So much fun. I was shocked I had gotten season credentials. I was fairly new to sports reporting, and I got season credentials for the Wildcats. And I think time stopped for a second when I got that email. But XFL was great, and I'm really looking forward to the return of it. I'm bummed there's not an LA league, but granted I will be in Vegas all of the time, trust me. But it was just so fun, and the players were working so hard, and there was so much passion. The players that wanted to, either had been in the NFL and were trying to get back there, or college players who were trying to take a step up. That was really special. The guys were so into it. The fans were really into it too. I mean, I know myself after Super Bowl, I get depressed. I get depressed.
Yeah, season's over. Now we got to wait X amount of months. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the draft's kind of coming, but not really.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that right after Super Bowl, you have a week, and then there's spring football. So I'm looking forward to that this year with XFL 3.0. And then also too, when the league folded because of COVID, I literally cried for 2 weeks because I was like, this is my big break. So, obviously still going at it now, but yeah, I mean, XFL was super fun, and the fans, the energy was really high too in the stadiums, and the fans had fun with it. So
what's the process for gaining media credentials, and in terms of in covering sports teams or events? How do you go? What's the process like? How do you go about it?
Well, I work freelance, so basically if I get a phone call, I go.
Okay.
So I do work with a few different a few different companies right now. One is Skyboat Media. It's called the Skyboat. It's a nonprofit sports website, and they get a lot of the credentials for me. We have a news director who puts in requests, and I get credentials from there. I am also a sports data journalist for Sports Data, Sport Radar, and they get me media credentials through them as well. And then also too, just contacts that I have in the league. To be honest, if I can call them and say, hey, you know, I'd love to participate in this event. Right, exactly. AC.
Exhibit A.
Exactly, and they'll be like, hey, we can help you out, or we can't. Some phone calls come to me like this next week. I'm actually covering an NFL alumni event in SoCal. It's a golf tournament, so they called me and asked me to be there. So I'm doing that as well. So,
what advice would you give someone looking to start covering the NFL?
You know what? Just keep going at it, guys. It took me a year and a half to get a paycheck. It took me about the same time just to actually start covering an NFL game. And now I've covered 2 Super Bowls, a couple regular season games, and the draft. Just keep at it. If you hear no, say yes. And just keep going. Also, too, take every opportunity as well that's in front of you, that's given to you. Don't be shy. I would also start your own content. If I didn't do touchdown timeout, I wouldn't be where I am. Also why I want to bring it back. So, because I miss it so much. So yeah, I mean, doing your own content, always saying yes, getting yourself out there, getting your face out there, and just loving what you do, I think helps.
I've been doing this for about a year and a half, and for me it's like, this is something I should have done a lot sooner. I stopped playing football about 6 years ago and got into this all because of a childhood friend. He would hear me call into ESPN Radio New York a lot, and a lot of these guys would keep me on. We would have some real conversations about these teams, and my friend was like, you know your stuff, you really need to put this to use. So I got into it, and fast forward a year and a half later, we're at 4,000 subs and continuing to grow. Yep. What advice would you give someone like me who has a podcast that would love the opportunity to interview players in the NFL?
Reach out to them on IG. Honestly, all they can say is no, or all they can do is not write you back. Just go for it. You know, some of these guys look at them, some don't. You know, I think it's worth your time to do, you know, time and effort to do that.
Definitely. I gotta get AC in here.
Yeah, let's get AC in here.
He feels out of it. Can I unmute his mic? Yep. AC, you there?
I am, brother. I am. I'm just in Scottsdale. The communication is horrible here, so I apologize if I'm coming in and out. I'm actually by the airport, so I apologize for that, man.
You're good. So you grew up in South Central LA. You played for the Raiders for about 5 years. Who or what inspired you to start playing football?
Well, first of all, let me say this out of respect. I think Miss Deb know me. I want to say thank you for building us a platform, man, and congratulations on you taking that step to be in this industry. And there's so much more for you out there. Great show, man. I'm looking forward to see you grow in any way that we can open doors for you. That's what we're here for. We're a team, you know, so we have the team concept, but thank you for your platform, man. For me, growing up in obviously South Central LA, which is a major part of my livelihood, you know, that's what developed me, that's what shaped me, that's what molded me, that's what gave me the competitiveness, man, because it's so competitive growing up in LA in anything you do. You know, who had the best bicycle, you know, who had the best clubhouse, you know, who had the best dress. I mean, it was so competitive, man, in anything that you do, and I wouldn't change that for anything in the world. But for me, man, sports was my livelihood. You know, always wanted to get involved with sports, football, basketball, track, whatever it took. I just wanted to stay active, and a lot of that was to keep me away from gangs and violence and, a lot of things that was in my environment. I gravitated towards football. And I tell Deb this, we laugh all the time, but growing up, man, playing football, I knew that if I ever was to make it as a professional athlete, I was going to be a Dallas Cowboy. Nobody could have told me that I was not going to replace Tony Dorsett and all the Cowboy greats, no matter what position, running back, receiver, offensive lineman. I'm replacing somebody to be a Cowboy.
Wow.
And it's so funny, Deb. I never shared this with you. My family, we were going through some photos, and, just kind of looking back on some things. And as much as I love the Dallas Cowboys, like literally, Deb, you know the story. All up until I made it to the NFL with the Raiders, I had to let my love for the Cowboys go out the window for a lot of other reasons. And I just never knew I was going to be a Raider. And I literally, my mom was sending me like 10, 15 different pictures as I grew up as a kid with my sister and I. And I'm looking at all of this Raider gear that I have on, hats, T-shirts, just odd stuff, wearing Raiders, never the Cowboys. I didn't own not one Cowboy, nothing, but I knew I wanted to be a Cowboy. My bike looked like Dallas Cowboy. My room, anything I bought was always Dallas Cowboy colors. And my mom said, you was destined to be a Raider. And I'm looking at all of this Raider stuff that I'm literally wearing, man, at the age of 8, 9, 10, 15, 16 years old. I'm like, where's this coming from, right? And but what inspired me, man, was a lot of the older guys who, to be honest with you, to be very transparent, a lot of the gangbangers, a lot of the gang members that, because I didn't have a father in my life, and those were the people who kind of took me in and said, hey, play sports and do this and do that. And they really inspired me to say, hey, man, go out and be better than what we are. All we have is this, right? Either prison or either dead. You have some great talent, man. Go play sports, become great at it, and, let this be your vehicle out of the hood, right? So that's where it comes from, man.
Who were your heroes growing up?
Once again, by not having that father figure in my life who should have been my hero, I turned towards sports athletes. I turned towards guys that somehow, some way, it allowed me to connect with them, so I can stay positive and stay focused on life, like Magic Johnson, the Lakers, and athletes from track and field and basketball, and I just looked towards athletes, man. That was kind of my positive role model. It wasn't, no disrespect, it wasn't Dr. Martin Luther King. It wasn't, it was athletes that I had to find what can I relate to that can motivate me, or why I want to go to school, why I want to get up, why I want to, do something in my life. So really, man, that's what it came down to, was athletes.
How would you describe your career in the NFL, and what was it like those 5 years you spent with the Raiders?
Brother, I tell you, because of my role was a lot different than a lot of other guys. Deb and I talked about this. I'm probably one of the only, maybe two, but maybe one of the only guys in NFL history that have taken the route that I took to get to the NFL, which is right out of junior college. Right out of junior college, and running track professionally, coming out of JUCO, and then playing for semi-pro ball, playing for Arena League, Canadian League, XFL, USFL, World League, and NFL. So, my climb up that ladder was no joke. And, to have that opportunity to play into the NFL, man, every day was a moment for me. Whether it was 1 second, one play, one down, I cherished it, and I knew that thousands of great athletes who had way more experience than I came out of bigger name colleges, got drafted. Even those guys sometimes don't make it. So for me to have that 5 years, 6 years, due to injuries and whatnot, it was life-changing, man, like no other. Amazing.
What was life like after football?
That's the interesting part. Very successful when you're playing ball, playing sports, everybody loves you. But for me, success comes what you're doing life after sports. What are you doing 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What legacy have you built, just like you wanted to do in football, right?
Right.
And so success for me right now is I'm living that best success lifestyle And a lot of that had to do with sports. A lot of that had to do with, go back to, out of respect, was Al Davis, who was my mentor. He was my mentor on and off the field. He could have easily brought me in just for football, but he sat me aside and said, man, you're more than just a football player. Let me work with you and teach you about life, about business, about branding, about marketing, why we are the Raiders, why we, he poured those things into me, and to help me have a successful opportunity in life. And I carry that every day in my life and business, man. Like, I'm so freaking competitive because of Al Davis. I do everything with greatness. I do everything with luxury. I do everything to be number one. And a lot of that has to do with him because, once again, I didn't go to a university. I didn't get a chance to go to a 4-year school and live that lifestyle and get that type of degree and whatever I was pursuing. So it all came through. Football was my family. It taught me everything.
Seems like commitment to excellence is truly embedded in and instilled in you.
Man, most definitely. That was number one, man. And he'll let you know, like, you're not going to be a part of the Raiders if you don't have that commitment. So I think, man, that's what allowed me to make that transition, which is tough. You guys know that. Making a transition into the real world as an athlete is freaking hard, especially with football, because, football is very brutal. We're carrying over injuries that we're still dealing with, back problems, knee problems, concussions, and it really affects your day-to-day life of how, even wanting to go get a regular job, because physically you're so beat up, mentally you're so drawn. So for me to have this opportunity physically and mentally to be healthy, to do the things that we're doing, man, I'm like blessed.
You're the CEO of Million Dollar Mingle. Why don't you tell my viewers what Million Dollar Mingle is?
Well, Million Dollar Mingle became one of our most high-profile luxury celebrity charity fundraisers. We started in 2006, and it started off with saying a bunch of group of guys that are also former athletes, which are my business partners. We own 6 other different companies, from sports agencies to sports marketing, etc. But our baby became our Million Dollar Mingle charity fundraiser. It started off with just a celebrity charity mansion party that grew to 4,000 people. And from that point, the type of people that came, celebrities, athletes, high profile people with money, really enjoyed a luxury service that we provided as a private invite only event. So it was amazing, man. And we did that and it blew up. It took off. We raised millions of dollars. And we said, well, how did this become a brand? Like, let's make it to a real brand. Now here we are in 2022, where it's now a $1 Million Mingle experience, from celebrity charity golf tournaments to, celebrity VIP parties and comedy shows. And I also take that take that brand and I sponsor other big events to make sure that we have a VIP headquarters at these events. So that way we can host our celebrities and professional athletes and corporate sponsors and people like Deb, obviously red carpet Hollywood, people that want to come out and help entertain and showcase, what we do best. But it's been, oh, brother, I tell you, you got to come out and experience it, man. We made it media driven. So it's covered with red carpet, a lot of media driven podcast shows. It's just a great vehicle that we're so blessed to have.
Now, you guys have an event coming up in about, what's today, the 5th, so the 21st, your Celebrity Charity Golf Classic.
Sure. Well, we're based in Scottsdale, Arizona, but we are mobile. We're going to Las Vegas, Beverly Hills, different cities across the country. Every Super Bowl, we now do the $1 Million Mingle Super Bowl edition. So wherever the Super Bowl is, we're there. We're there raising money for those local charities. But we're getting ready for a big event, man. It's global, it's national, it's local, hotel rooms, resorts, but it's called the $1 Million Mingle Weekend Experience. We kick off, like you said, October 21st. We do our celebrity charity golf tournament here in Arizona. And then we come back in November 4th through the 6th. And man, it's a lot. We're going to rock and roll with polo. If you've never experienced polo, it's freaking amazing, man. Like, really, polo horses. And we build a big old event around polo horses, man. And it's freaking amazing. And then that whole weekend is just, we're doing our beauty pageant, what I think Miss Deb might be a part of the beauty pageant. I got to check and see.
Hey,
I'm in.
there you go.
Hey, I've already put the winning crown on the side if she wants to take it. That's up to her. Okay? But but it's gonna be a great weekend experience, man. We would love to talk off the air about somehow, some way getting you out here. I don't know if you golf or not. I'm horrible at golf.
I need to learn how to play.
You play golf, Hammer? You play?
I've never played, and what's really bad is I'm a rare breed. I'm a lefty, so it'd probably be very difficult.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. That's a tough challenge, man. But whenever you want to come out on behalf of Deb and I, man, we got you. We want you to come out and experience these things, especially we're coming right back for the Super Bowl here in Arizona. So I'm going to be doing 2 major $1 Million Mingle Super Bowl events, which would be our golf tournament and a high-profile party. So, brother, you're already part of the family, man. So when you're ready to come out, we got you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I know Deb said she had some things to do, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to thank both of you guys from the bottom of my heart for coming on. I definitely hope to have you guys on again, and we will definitely be talking off air, most definitely. Thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity and coming on into the vault.
Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you. And if just one last thing, if people go to mdmexperience.com, they can check out our event. If they want to come out, we welcome you. So thank you so much, brother, for your platform, and great job, man.
Thank you guys so much. I'm going to wrap it up, so I'm going to send you guys out. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
you, guys. Bye.
Wow. Amazing interview from 2 amazing people. Couldn't be more happier to have an experience like this. Guys, if you like what you saw tonight, if it's the first time in here, don't let it be your last. Consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and smashing the bell for all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, and reactions right here in the official, the original, the only house, Hammers.House. Ladies and gentlemen, continue to stay safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. COVID and monkeypox is around. Remember to wash your hands and your asses. And as always, win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. Till next time, y'all.
The United States are strongly encouraged to shelter in place to avoid being attacked or taken hostage. To shelter in place, take the following precautions. Close all windows and doors, and all lights.